So the first thing you're going to want to do is use a good detangler right out of the shower. I like the Unite 7 seconds one. You just kind of mist it all over. Make sure it's nice and saturated. And then, as it says, you wait 7 seconds and it is like magic. It starts working really well. You're going to grab your hair. If it's long enough, you're going to grab it and kind of support it at the mid shafts and start at the ends to brush it out. You don't just want to rip your brush through the top, like straight through the roots. First of all, that just hurts. And second of all, it can damage and snap your hair. So you always want to start from the bottom of your hair, the ends, and work your way up through the tangles. So you can kind of see I'm just working from the underneath and working my way up there. That's a really good tip for everything, just to get it started so that you have really nice brushed out hair with no crazy tangles and your scalp's not already mad at you from ripping through it. The next tip I have for a good blow dry is to let it air dry for a little bit first. I usually will kind of brush it out like this and shake it out and then go ahead and do my makeup or do something else first. All right, so at this point, it's air dried a little bit. I put my face on, so I'm gonna go back through and just brush it out a little bit. My hair is naturally kind of wavy curly, so at this point it's already started to scrunch up a little bit, so I'm just brushing that out so we have a nice smooth blow dry. Then I'm gonna grab my trusty blow dryer, and what you're gonna do for maximum volume is flip your head over, which I feel like a lot of people do in general. So now what you're gonna focus on is that you're pointing your blow dryer down your hair shaft. So you're not gonna blow up into your roots and like blast everything everywhere, because that's just gonna blow open your cuticle and give you like crazy puffy frizz and cause a lot of damage. So the way that you're gonna get volume without damage is by imagining there's a string connected to your brush, and so a string connected from your blow dryer to your brush. And so as you brush your hair, your blow dryer is just gonna follow it. And we're creating our volume by flipping our head over and brushing that hair upward, but we're still focusing down the hair shaft. So blow dryer and brush go down. The direction that you would brush your hair is the direction that your blow dryer needs to follow. You can also get in there and kind of break it up with your fingers and finger comb it a little bit. Everything is still going down that hair shaft. The direction that you are brushing your hair, like that you would brush your hair just to brush out the tangles, that is the direction that your brush, blow dryer, fingers, whatever, that's the direction it needs to follow so that you're not blowing open the cuticle. Just kind of go in there, and we're really trying to get the roots most of the way dry through all this. So I'm really working on the back and the kind of the back sides, like behind my ears at this point. Going back in with the brush, making sure we're getting some volume, making sure everything's staying smooth. Then you can kind of work towards the top. To get the maximum volume on my hair, I like to kind of brush everything forward on top and then also side to side. So right now it's kind of forward and off to one side, go back the other way. This just gives you maximum like movement and bounciness, which I feel like all of us always want. Like, I want nice bouncy hair. So that's how you're gonna get good volume, good bounce, is by blow drying side to side, front to back. Go back in, work on the sides a little bit. At that point you can kind of start to go through, not just at the roots, you can kind of start to go through some of your mid shafts and ends a little bit. Everything, like I already said 15 times, is still going down. So you're brushing, the direction that you brush your hair is the direction that the air from the blow dryer needs to also be pointing, and that's, your blow dryer is going to follow your brush down. Now you can move to the sides just to get volume. I'm brushing everything up, just obviously it's the same as with my head flipped over, but this just gives me a little bit different angle and I can get my sides dry a little bit better this way. And just getting some volume, getting those roots most of the way dry. You really want all your hair is gonna be like at least 75% dry by the time we're done with this part, before we even pick up a round brush or anything. And you want your roots really to basically be totally dry. So that's gonna give you the best blowout that lasts the longest, looks the best, and gives you the volume and the style that you want. So now just going in on the other side here. Again, you can see the direction of the airflow is always the direction that I'm brushing my hair. You would never, I mean, unless you're back combing, like doing a hairstyle, you wouldn't brush from the bottom up. You always brush from the root down, right? For styling and detangling, obviously. So that's you need to think of that as the same direction that the air needs to go. You would never, you'd never brush your hair from the bottom up, so you shouldn't blow dry your hair from the bottom up. So we'll just go through and kind of grab on to some of it, air still pointing down. This is just a way that I get more of the moisture out of the mid shafts and ends without having to keep brushing a billion times. Super technical technique here, but it works. Everything's pointing down. And then even if you just kind of really roughly blow dry and kind of blast dry in there, you can see that I'm still angling the blow dryer down. And this is just kind of getting through those mid shafts and ends, breaking it up, getting it most of the way dry here. All right, so now that the hair is most of the way dry, as you can see, I'm just gonna brush it all out using the same principle from the bottom up, so we're not causing any damage or snapping, and getting it ready so we can polish up the ends. Okay, so now that that's all squared away, we're gonna get ready to polish the ends. You're gonna take a section from about the corners of your eyebrows, kind of follow that up your forehead, and that'll create just about the right size of a mohawk section for working through this. It's really important to section out your hair to finish it off if you really want that professional look. I also go to this next section, basically right above the ears. But that just really goes in and makes sure that you have really gotten everything totally dry. You're not going to have any of those waves that creep up on you because you thought your hair was totally dry and it's not. And it doesn't actually take that long to section it out. So what you're gonna do is grab your round brush and pop that in up near the root. And now we're working from root down, still moving down the hair shaft. It's as though there's a string connecting the brush and the blow dryer. They're moving together, and the airflow of the blow dryer is still going down like the direction you would brush your hair. Everything's going down. So you're smoothing those ends. They're gonna look nice and polished and have volume, but they're not gonna be blown open and look like, whoa, you need a haircut. And I think we all know what I'm talking about, because sometimes when you blow dry your hair, that's what you end up with. I also wanted to show you, I have the Revlon, it's like called the one-step styler, or so. I'll look up what it is and link it, but the Revlon tool that's basically a round brush and blow dryer in one. And I know several people have it, so I just wanted to show both. I go back and forth, I use both, but I have been super impressed with the Revlon. And it's basically the same idea. You pop it in up at the roots, pull down. It is a little bit simpler because you're not having to work both things at once, but yeah. So I'm just showing both for no reason other than just to show both. It's not, you do not need to have both. Pick whichever one you have or like the best. So then usually in the back, I'll take that whole back section in the middle, partly because I have a cowlick. A lot of people do have some sort of something going on back there. So I like to take it all together and either with the round brush and the blow dryer go back there, or with the Revlon. To be honest, the Revlon is much easier for getting the back of your head like this. But yeah, you just start at the root, work down. You don't have to focus as much on the direction of the airflow with the Revlon, because it kind of, the way that it comes out, it kind of does that for you. So, and you're just polishing that up until it's totally dry, which doesn't take very long when you have your hair most of the way dry. So the round brushing part, which everybody seems to kind of dread, is actually not that labor intensive. So, and then from here you can just see I'm going to keep taking each section, pop in the round brush at the root, work through with my blow dryer. Blow dryer is always pointed down the hair shaft. I cannot stress that enough. I'm going to keep saying it. So just keep working down there. All right, so now that we've got the bottom and the sides done, we'll move to that mohawk section. You're gonna break it into, for most people, breaking it into thirds works best. So if you can imagine, you're gonna take 3 kind of cuts right through the top of there. So I'm gonna grab that back section that I just took. And with my round brush, I like to just get it secured in there first before I go in with my blow dryer. And so you're just gonna polish those ends up. I'm still working down the hair shaft, even though I'm pulling up towards the ceiling. Pulling up is giving you that volume. You can also switch the direction of the brush to give a little more volume and go in there from behind just to kind of push it that direction a little bit more, and then one more pass to just kind of polish it up again as it's dry there. But so that's a good tip, is to kind of go in from both directions to give yourself a little bit of volume, and pull up towards the ceiling, or even in these next 2 sections, you'll see I'm gonna pull forward quite a bit. I'm over directing the hair forward to create volume. So the remaining hair that I have left, I'm just gonna split roughly in half, clip the front part out of the way, grab this little section, and for this one I'm going to use the Revlon guy. So I'm kind of pulling up and forward, switching from front to back, just kind of gives it some good push and polishes everything. But I do always finish with either the round brush or the Revlon tool from the back. It just kind of polishes it under better. And then for the last one, we'll kind of pull forward. I tend to super over direct forward on the front of my hair because I don't like when it just falls super flat and hangs by my face. So you're gonna direct forward and or up to the ceiling. If you have a cowlick or anything around the front that you don't like, that you need to tame, that would be a different scenario. But this is, if you're trying to create volume with a blowout, this is gonna be the way to do it. So forward and then up towards the ceiling, and then I just kind of smooth everything. And now that that's done, we'll kind of brush everything out. See what we're working with. Everything is dry. There's not any sneaky little waves coming back out because I didn't thoroughly, dry the roots. It's all set.